Exodus, a journey from slavery to glory. It all begins in Egypt, long after the days of Joseph, who once saved that land from famine. He had died, and so had his brothers. But their families, the Israelites, had grown into a large and powerful people. Too powerful. A new king rose in Egypt, one who had never heard of Joseph. He did not care about past favors. He only saw a threat. These Hebrews, he thought, they are many, too many. What if they turn against us? So he acted. First he made them slaves. He set taskmasters over them, forcing them to build cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied. The harder Pharaoh pushed, the stronger they became. That made him panic. Then he took it further. He ordered that every Hebrew baby boy be killed, thrown into the Nile. Imagine the terror in every household, the weeping of mothers, the silence of fathers who could not fight back. But even in darkness, light was not gone. A Levite couple had a baby boy. For 3 months they hid him. But when they could no longer conceal his cries, the mother made a waterproof basket, laid her child in it, and set him afloat on the Nile. The river that was meant to kill him carried him to safety. The basket drifted into the hands of Pharaoh's daughter. She saw the crying child and felt compassion. His sister Miriam had followed from a distance and spoke up. "Shall I get a Hebrew woman to nurse him?" And just like that, the boy was returned temporarily to his mother. When he grew older, he was adopted by Pharaoh's daughter. She named him Moses, meaning drawn out of the water. Moses grew up in 2 worlds, Hebrew by birth, Egyptian by upbringing. He had servants, education, influence, but his heart still burned for his own people. One day he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. Rage boiled. Moses struck the Egyptian down and buried the body in the sand. But word spread. When Pharaoh heard, he wanted Moses dead. So Moses ran. He fled into the wilderness, to the land of Midian. There, he rescued some women at a well, daughters of a local priest named Jethro. Jethro welcomed him. Moses married one of the daughters, Zipporah, and started a quiet life tending sheep. Years passed, 40 of them. Then, one ordinary day, Moses saw something strange, a bush on fire, yet not burning up. Curious, he drew near. Then came the voice, "Moses, Moses." It was God. "Take off your sandals. The place where you are standing is holy ground." God told Moses, "I have heard the cries of my people in Egypt. I have seen their misery. I am going to rescue them, and I am sending you." Moses was stunned. "Me, who am I?" God said, "I will be with you." God said. Still Moses doubted. "What if they ask who sent me?" God answered with a name that echoed into eternity. "I am who I am. Tell them I am has sent you." God gave him signs, a staff that turned into a snake, a hand that turned leprous and then healed, and the power to turn water to blood. Still Moses hesitated. "I am slow of speech." God did not take back the mission. Instead, he gave Moses a helper, his brother Aaron, who would speak for him. So Moses returned to Egypt, not as a prince, but as a prophet. Together Moses and Aaron approached Pharaoh. "The Lord says, 'Let my people go.'" Pharaoh laughed. "Who is the Lord that I should obey him?" Instead of giving in, he made life worse. He stopped giving the Israelites straw to make bricks, but still demanded the same number of bricks. The people blamed Moses. He cried out to God, and God answered, not with words of comfort, but with acts of power. Then came the plagues. The Nile turned to blood. Fish died. The water stank. Frogs swarmed the land, even into ovens and beds. Gnats rose from the dust. Flies filled the houses of the Egyptians, but spared the Israelites. Livestock died across Egypt. Boils broke out on people and animals. Hail rained down like fire. Locusts devoured every green thing left. Darkness covered the land for 3 days, and then the 10th God gave specific instructions. Each family was to sacrifice a perfect lamb, roast it, eat it in haste, and smear its blood on the doorposts of their homes. At midnight, death passed over Egypt, striking down the firstborn of every Egyptian home, including Pharaoh's son. But where the blood was seen, death passed over. That night Pharaoh gave in. "Go," he said. "Take your people, take your flocks, go worship your God." The Israelites left in a hurry, with bread not even risen. They carried gold and silver the Egyptians handed over. After 430 years in Egypt, they walked free. But Pharaoh's heart hardened once more. He sent his army, horsemen and chariots after them. The Israelites found themselves trapped between the Red Sea and the most powerful army on earth. They cried out in fear. Moses lifted his staff. The waters parted. Walls of water rose on both sides, and the Israelites crossed on dry ground. When Pharaoh's army followed, the waters collapsed and swallowed them. On the other side, the people sang. Moses led them in a song of victory. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. Miriam, his sister, took up a tambourine, and the women danced. But the celebration did not last long. 3 days into the desert, the people were thirsty. They found water, but it was bitter. Moses cried out to God, who showed him a piece of wood to throw in. The water became sweet. They grumbled about food. God sent manna, bread from heaven, every morning. He sent quail in the evening. When they had no water again, Moses struck a rock, and water poured out. Enemies attacked, the Amalekites. Moses stood on a hill, holding up his staff. As long as his hands were raised, Israel won. When he lowered them, they lost. So Aaron and Hur stood beside him, holding his hands steady until victory came. Eventually, they reached Mount Sinai. Thunder, lightning, smoke. The whole mountain shook. God called Moses up and gave him his covenant, beginning with the 10 Commandments. They were more than rules. They were a foundation for a new nation. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make idols or worship images. You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. But that was only the beginning. God gave Moses laws about justice, mercy, worship, and community life. He called Israel to be different, his chosen nation. Then came detailed instructions for something new, the tabernacle, a portable sanctuary where God's presence would dwell. Every piece, the Ark of the Covenant, the lampstand, the altar, was crafted with care and purpose. It was a holy place. But while Moses was on the mountain receiving these instructions, the people below grew impatient. They asked Aaron to make them a god they could see. So Aaron melted their gold and shaped a golden calf. They danced and worshipped it. When Moses came down carrying the stone tablets, he saw the idolatry and smashed the tablets in fury. God was ready to destroy them, but Moses pleaded, "Blot me out of your book instead." God spared them, but there were consequences. Many died that day, and Moses returned to the mountain for 40 more days to receive the law again. In time, the people repented. They brought offerings. They built the tabernacle exactly as God had commanded. And when it was finished, something incredible happened. A cloud descended, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. God was with his people, right in the middle of their camp. The cloud guided them by day and fire by night. And so Exodus ends, not with a final chapter, but with a new beginning. The people of Israel, once slaves, were now free. Once scattered and broken, they were now a nation. Once far from God, they now had his presence right among them. The journey was far from over, but the foundation had been laid. Exodus is the story of rescue, covenant, and identity. It tells us that God hears cries, breaks chains, and walks with his people, even through deserts.